Hello everyone, I am Pankaj Chaudhary. In this video lecture, we are going to learn how to create a form in HTML. HTML forms are used to pass the data to a server. The form element can contain one or more of the following form elements: input, text area, buttons, select, option, opt group, field set, label. This form tag is used to create an HTML form. These are the attributes which we can use with the form tags. The first one is the action. It specifies the URL where the form data has to send when a form is submitted. The next attribute of the form tag is name. It specifies name of the form. The third attribute is the ENC type, which specifies how the form data should be encoded when submitting it to the server. Only for method post it will work, and it is used to attach a file in a form. The value of ENC type attribute is multipart / form - data. The next attribute is the method attribute, which specifies which method to use to send the data. There are two methods, get method and the post method. So when the method specify get, the URL contains the data of the form when it is submitted to the server. When the method is set to post, then the data is not visible on the URL. It will be encrypted by the form and it is hidden. The next attribute is the target attribute, where to display the response that is received after submitting the form. The value is _blank, _self, _parent and _top. The most important form element is the input element. It is used to select the user information. Input element can vary in many ways depending on the type attribute. The value of the type attributes are text field, checkbox, password, radio button, submit button and more. These are the attribute which we can use in the input tag. There are so many other attributes we can use with the input tag of the form, but this is the most important and commonly used attribute. The first one is the size. It displays width of the input element in characters. When the size is set to 10, then the input field is visible only for 10 characters, but we can write as many as characters in it. The name attribute specifies the name of the input element so that we can retrieve the data at the server by its name. The type attribute specifies the input elements to look like. If it is set to button, then the button will be displayed. If the input type set to checkbox, so the checkbox will be displayed. Email, it contains the email. Hidden fields are not visible, and all this radio, reset, submit we can use as a value for the type attribute of the input element. ID, it is the common attribute in most of the HTML tags. It is used to uniquely identify that HTML element. Now we will see one by one the type field, the type of input elements. First we will see the type equals to text. When the type is set to text, a one-line input field that a user can enter text into. Let's take an example. We have taken two fields, first name and last name, of type text. The name field will display the first name, and this last name field has a name called last name. This field name is used to retrieve the data from the input fields at the server. This code will look like in browser or in web page. It's like this. First name with the box, input box, last name with the input box. The next is the password field. It defines a password in the web page. Let's take an example, a form with one field label with password and input type equals to password. The name of this password field is PWD. It looks like on the web page the first name. It's by mistaken is there. It will be the password here, and the text will be displayed in the dotted form. The next field is the radio. It defines a radio buttons. Radio buttons lets a user select only one of the limited number of choice. This form has a two radio buttons of type radio. The name of these two radio buttons are same gender. The value of the first radio button is male and the value of the second radio button is female, and it will be displayed on the browser like this, male and female. So user can select only one option from this field. This name equals to gender field will create a group over the type radio, so that we can select only one option from that group. We can define many more options with the limited group by mentioning the name. Another field is the checkbox fields. It defines the checkbox. Let a user select 0 or more option of a limited number of choice. Here is a sample code which will create a checkbox on the web page. The type of the input field is checkbox. The name of this input field is hobbies, and the value of this input fields are cricket and music. It will display on the browsers like this. So user can select both of this checkbox. This hobby field here also have the same name. This checkbox when the data is submitted to the server, this hobby is also submitted as an array. We can retrieve the data from the server by treating hobbies as an array. So the hobby 0 specify the cricket and hobby 1 specify the music. Now input type submit. It defines a submit button. A submit button is used to send form data to a server. The data is sent to the page specified in the form sections attribute. Forms action attribute. Here is an example. Form with name input, action HTML form action.asp, method equals to get. Now when the form is submitted, it will send to the HTML form action.asp page by using the get method. The username of type text and the field of this name is user is submitted to the form when the submit button is clicked. It looks like on the browser like this: a single input field and a submit button. Now the next element of the form is select. It is used to create a drop-down list, and the option tag inside this select elements define the available option in the list. Here is the sample code for creating a drop-down list. We have created a form with action hash, and this form contains only one input element, which is of type drop-down list. Here this field name, the select input element name is city, and user have to select from this options this option Pune. There is the option tag which has an attribute value. It is specify Pune, and the visible part of the user is this Pune. When the data is submitted to the server, the actual value which is submitted is this value, so that this value may be different and this value may be different. We can use here like the code for the Pune or the different city code and display only this city name to the user. So we can use whatever we want to send the data to the server and what to display to the users. It will display a code. The code looks like in the browser like this. There is a drop down list with options Pune, Bhopal, Jaipur and Nagpur. The another form element is the text area tag. It defines a multi-line text input control. A text area can hold an unlimited number of characters. Here is an example. A text area has contained an address, and the text area tag has an opening and a closing tag. Text area has an attribute rows equals to 3 and cols equals to 40, which means it will display a text area of size which display 3 rows in the text area, and the number of columns is 40. To access this field, we have mentioned the name here, address. It looks like on the browser like this. So this is the 3 visible line area for this row, and the 40 column area is this. This is visible. When we increase this size 40 to 80, then it will display a large box in a width. When we increase the row size, the height of this text area is increased. Now design this form using a table. It has a name, gender field, city, email, qualification with drop down list, address as a text area, and 2 submit button, submit and 2 buttons, submit and clear. You have to design this form using a table. Thank you for watching this video.